Hey, 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 what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of quickmail.io.
Hey, and this is Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesbread.com.
Today, we got an
Today,
interesting episode, and the question is, what happens if you're not selling anything that stands out in the marketplace? How can you write a great cold email for it? Is it even possible? That's the
yeah,
question we're going to see.
yep. And there's a couple tactics you're going to want to stack the deck in your favor
And
for.
strategy.
Yep. But first, before we put on the 10-minute timer, before we get into the strategy and tactics, of course, we need hear from our sponsors because today most B2B companies lack either the time or expertise to turn your cold prospects into warm sales qualified leads. So at salesbread.com, we will bring you one lead every day, Monday through Friday, by sending ultra personalized cold emails and LinkedIn messages on your behalf. So you don't have to worry about prospecting, personalization, copywriting, list building, follow-ups, reply handling, and everything in between. So if that sounds pretty nice and you'd like to grow your pipeline, head over to salesbread.com and get in touch.
Love it. And, and I know how hard it is to scale an agency that manages cold outreach once you pass the 10 client mark. Keeping track of all those inboxes and their sending reputation becomes an absolute nightmare. Meanwhile, you're worried about how to keep getting results for your clients, but your team doesn't have the visibility it needs to get I don't know, doesn't have the visibility for your clients' results,
To
right?
get
And it needs to,
results.
yeah, get results. Not to mention having to deal with broken software and having to contact unhelpful supports, which is a big annoyance. And that's why most of the biggest cold email agencies in the world choose this quick mail. It's absolutely no drama. I love it personally. I'm biased, sure, I get it, but I do love it. It's just it just works, and you can scale without worrying that things will break while you're away. And if you want to try it, then we have we have a free plan, which is a very generous, true free plan, which most people will charge you for, but we don't. So if your operation is looking for the most robust, flexible cold email tool to scale your business, head over to quickmail.io and ask for a demo. And you may have the chance to go on a call with me. Careful, I'm an OBS, straight to the point, and I want to know your business and how it's working to know if you're a great fit or not. But yeah,
Love it.
quickmail.io, go
If
for it.
Stamp of approval over here. Okay, Jeremy, let's throw a timer and get into it. We're talking about how do you write a great cold email when your product or service doesn't stand out in the marketplace? What can you do?
It's a great question, and maybe we should even like back off a little bit and just mention like who would actually benefit from listening to this podcast, as in, well, probably every SEO. What do I receive? Like SEO services in my inboxes, they all look the same. Or let's say you're doing a copycat product, like, I don't know, like a clone of Calendly, for example. Then how do you get my attention, like with the copy, right?
Yeah. So maybe we should also preface this. This may not be appropriate if you are, let's say, a newly hired SDR that is not allowed to make marketing strategy calls, like
Yeah.
maybe offering different trial offers or whatnot. If you really can't budge, you're going to have a much tougher job. But this conversation should benefit the strategists at the company. If you're head of marketing, head of product, founder,
Yeah.
or just able to make some calls, you'll have fun with this.
Yeah, I strongly agree with that. It could be, someone higher up in the hierarchy. If you're just there to, I think, nah, not necessary. I got some strategies that could actually just help
Good.
with some of your copy. So without further
Let's
ado,
go.
let's have a go. What do you got on your list, Jack?
Okay.
How would you deal with that?
I have one, but it feels like cheating.
You'll ditch the client and go to their competitors?
No. So if you have something that really doesn't stand out, okay, here's what it is, Jeremy. I don't believe there is truly an identical copycat product where there's nothing remarkable going on. And
Yeah.
how about this? How about this? If you're like, we don't stand out, the first and easiest thing you can do is make sure you do the best job in the market at communicating the benefit you bring to the table, because maybe your competitors who have the same thing have done a bad job communicating it.
100% quick mail
Yeah.
case right there. Like we've been one of the best in the market, but our marketing kind of sucked. And people,
Fair.
know about other small tools, and you're like, what the F, man?
Not even as good, right? So
It's true.
and the moral of that story is what it doesn't take the best product, the best service to actually succeed
Yes,
in some fashion, right?
100%. So
Okay.
ability to describe your product better than your competitor, or the problems better than your competitors, right? So
Love that.
that'd be interesting,
Yeah.
like an SEO agency coming and saying, like, we know that the problem in inbound is about real X and not Y, and this is Y and stuff like that. Maybe that's an
Wow.
angle, right?
No, I think that's really good. And you could even stop the episode here and take
All
away
right.
that
Thanks,
there is
Jack.
there's a victory to be had in being the best at bringing even what you do at a mundane level to more qualified prospects in your market. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, well,
And
speaking of
cold
which,
out
I will build on this one actually. So hold this thought, and actually, a possibility is like niche down. So rather than being Calendly like for everyone, whatever, it's like no, we're the calendar for
for sales teams.
specifically, yeah, exactly, or for marketing team or whatever, and then just align your product. Like we were having an expert track recently, or expert track, by the way, at QuickMail is basically we invite you to come and speak, to us because you're a subject expert on one thing. And so we had one for a CMO that was, in a very popular company, whatever, and so on. And he basically told me like they actually bundle and package the same product, but for different verticals, and they basically position it differently, but at the end it's the same product. So like, they just position it that to resonate more for this case study. So niche down is one thing to help level up your so like if I contact you and I say, hey Jack, you're a lead generation agency, like we have the perfect tool for exactly your position. Like, okay, that's interesting.
Let me ask you this: if you're going to go that route, do you need a hassle with making a dedicated landing page, or it doesn't matter?
Why not, honestly? But
Yeah.
what we had, like, for example, for a long while, and I still have it, like in my signature, I have like, see why agencies love us so much.
Yeah.
It's just like a
And
link
it's
to one
a
of our
page.
landing page that just explain, why an agency loves us so much. And of course, it wouldn't
Perfect.
resonate with, a consultant, for example, because that's not what they're looking at. So
that's right. I'm listening to this and I feel a little bit more energized, even if I'm selling a commodity or so. I would say
toilet paper
that's
or whatever.
helpful.
Yeah.
Let me throw out a weird angle, Jeremy. Let's say I'm selling this Calendly copycat, and what's your take if I say, you know what, our tool is not a whole heck of a lot different, but I'm going to go and
I love it, actually.
but I'm going to recruit affiliates to help bring it to their markets and pay them handsomely for it. What do you think there? Cold email.
I think it works too. It's a different channel. Now you got, distribution channel that is different than from your competitor. So again, you have something different.
And it means that I'm not using cold email to get, end users. I'm using cold email to get affiliates that can bring me some more users, right?
Love it. Love the angle. It's like go to your VIPs and maybe you can crack a different, channel using that could be also, SEO game, that could be with guest blogging, whatever. So no, absolutely love it. This is a great idea. Yeah. Another thing I would say as well is you could always like play on different things. Like you mentioned, it's really hard to be exactly the same on everything. You could always do it faster than your competitor, or have a better service than your competitor, or have different features. There's always like a different dimension on which you can build on that will make it special. And then you target your communication just about this. Like, we like Calendly, sure, but, well, depending if, they're the big ones, then you will actually not mention them. Like, sure, we're like Calendly, but we do offer like, custom personalization, or we help you onboarding, whatever, like something. And then we have like training video for your whole team and so on. So you can roll it out very easily. And then whatever is your angle, right? And then just build on
Right.
this as a unique selling point.
And have we mentioned price? I
I
think
don't think we did, but that's another
not.
one, right? Price
Yeah.
undercutting. We're the
Make it
same. We're
cheaper.
just cheaper. In fact, yeah,
Yeah.
I know one who actually did that quite successfully,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. And so with price, I would also encourage the extended free trial to be considered, or even a better free version, perhaps if this is a Calendly lookalike. And I had another weird one, Jeremy. I'm curious if you'd like it. I was thinking of going after a corner of the market that I believed was not adapting or even aware of a competitor yet. So this would be like the laggards, the people that are less tech savvy, right?
Yeah,
I'm
I like
sure
it.
5% of the market would say, "What's Calendly?"
Yeah, it's definitely like late adopter, like you mentioned, or people who are not as tech savvy and are ignored or left out. A good example as well is localization. So, for example, like we don't localize in French, for example, but I know a lot of the French scene is actually pretty strong on that. And I think we did select like, hey, let's just do everything in English because we prefer to have everything, into one language. The support is easier and so on. But you could just go the opposite route and say, and I'm speaking French because a certain generation didn't like, to speak English or whatever. But you could effectively just say, like, hey, you know what? My product is a Spanish product, or is the French product, or is the German
Yeah.
product, whatever, and then just go out to this market. And then once you scale, then you can add the English, later on. But yeah, that's a great idea. Love it.
So what do all these have in common, Jeremy? Is it true that they require you to examine the product or service and move parts around, saying, "Oh,
And not
we could
just your product. You could also, look at competitors. It's a very simple one. For example, I know, feature board type of thing, and basically they priced out other people because they say like, oh, we're only going to serve like enterprise people or whatever, and then it left a huge vacuum behind. So not just what is different from your competitors, but also look at who your competitor doesn't serve, whether, like you say, it's technical laggers or otherwise, right? Like yeah, like my friend is doing a SaaS for made business owner, right? You could still more or less get the same thing if you actually got a more generic one, but because of that, they niche down on this one, which the generic one
yeah,
doesn't want to build feature for. Then you can
right,
effectively just
own
get
that niche."
exactly on
It,
that niche
you
or
know,
underserved. Mhm.
I'm laughing because this is a conversation on writing a great cold email, but in
That's good.
reality, in reality, it's competitive advantage. It's business strategy applied.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
I think a great cold email person is able to put these pieces together so that they can write an email that won't be ignored. That's at least easy to engage with or hard to ignore.
Would you say that actually the advice then is rather than focusing on, the writing part, focus on figuring out, where your product actually is playing?
Yeah, I've always thought, like, if you want to have an easy time with sales, then you should be selling something really good. Um, and I think, like, step one is make that product or service worth buying. Step two is packaging it in a way that's attractive. And then step three is communicating that to the right group.
Mm-mm.
And we kind of covered all three steps here, sort of. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and after listening to the our cast together, it's kind of like hard to think like, yeah, two services are like. So if you present your SEO services like any other SEO services, then you're gonna get mediocre
Yeah,
results, but you should be
right.
able to differentiate you one way or another.
So this is where we usually hang up the cast, and then Jeremy and I will stay online and just talk a little bit more about what we
True.
just jammed on. And I sometimes we're like, we should have kept it recording. I'm going to keep this one recording. It feels a little bit as an aside, but it's like helpful to me, at least. So there's this show, Jeremy, Mad Men. Are you familiar
Okay.
with it?
No, I don't. I
It,
don't actually.
it's like 1960s New York advertising agency. Um, is like the scene, and there's an episode where there's a pitch meeting with in kind of an old timey ad man with what his client, which was a tobacco company at the time, and the tobacco client was upset because they just got fined by the FCC for claiming that cigarettes were good for you. You know, they said doctors said this was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the healthy choice. And
That's
so
right.
they asked the ad
Choice.
agency, like, what are we going to do now? We can't say
Yeah.
we're healthy anymore. This is it. We're done for. No more ads, right? And Don Draper, the hero of the show, says, "You're looking at this wrong. What we're looking at now is your entire marketplace is no longer able to say doctors recommend, or this is good for you, or choose this if you want to live, be healthy and fit. So instead of harping on that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say Marlboro cigarettes, it's toasted." And they're like, "Well, everyone's is toasted. What do you mean?" They said, "What people don't know that every cigarette is toasted. They think every cigarette is bad for you now, but yours is toasted."
What toasted means? Maybe it's an American stuff. I'm not
No,
getting
you
it.
take they say like they harvest the tobacco crop and like roast it in an oven, like so that the flavor is like roasting coffee beans or something.
Got it. Got it. Got
And
it.
his point was like, in a marketplace where every product is saying the same thing, if you choose one
Small, yeah,
message,
difference. Yeah.
even if the others do it too, but you are the best at communicating it, you're going to win.
I got it. I got it. Yeah. It's
Right?
it's
Kind of.
spot on. Yeah. I love
Okay,
it.
cool. So and if you like this, course.quickman.io. That's it. That was fun. Jeremy, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Sorry, what you said just made me think about like, oh, okay, well, competitors and stuff.
It's toasted.
Yeah,
Love it.
right. It's toasted. All right. Thanks, Jack. Catch you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.